From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell with Riley Magnuson for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2024. Next Wednesday at this time will be May 1st. Saturday, the Run for the Roses and the Kentucky Derby. Shout out to our proud sponsor, WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please run over to Google Play or wherever you download the apps. It's free. You know the spiel here by now. Start to get acclimated with the app. Start to download all the sports books that are available in your state. Take advantage of the free play, the promos, the match plays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Good way to start window shopping. Why spend a minus 128 tonight when you can move 2 clicks to the right and get it for minus 109? Save yourself 19 cents. Every 19 cents or $19 adds up on the week, month, year. We call it a marathon for a reason. So if you're looking to join this great team called WagerWire, send an email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Zach, Travis, Matt, Molly, Amber, Jay. The list is endless. It just grows day to day. And it's been a fun journey so far. But as Karen Carpenter once sang, we've only just begun. So without further ado, let's bring in the co-host of this show, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. What is up, champ?
What is up, my friend? Happy Tuesday afternoon. I am ready to rock and roll for some more playoff action. Was rocking it solo yesterday. Had some winners, had some losers on my end. So, something I'm feeling good about, something I wish I had back. But at the end of the day, it was a much more exciting night of action than we had for a good majority of the weekend there, with the way some of those games went on the weekend, and obviously the tight finishes we had last night, at least in the NBA, and obviously a couple in the NHL too. So I'm excited for that, to build on it tonight, because we've got some tight spreads, at least in the NBA there, and 4 more games in the NHL. And I think most of them, I think all of them are game 2 right in the NHL. So so far we've only got 1-2-0, and it's the Islanders collapse last night that I know Isles fans are still in kind of shock and awe there. And obviously there's some fans in the NBA that are shock and awe right now. So I'm ready to dive back into it. Obviously, we've got another night with a couple of questionables, doubtfuls as far as star injuries, but whether they're in or out, should be some good games on our hands tonight.
Shout out to Mr. Jay Berry. Happy Tuesday. Great weather here in Massachusetts. You are 100% spot on, Jay. Go enjoy it. Grab yourself a Dunks for the energy burst and come join us along here. There's a lot to talk about, but we're going to try to tighten up the ship here today. At 7 o'clock, I will be a part of WagerWire's Twitter space with former NFL punter, Mr. Eric Coleman. We'll be talking to him. The first black punter in the NFL, and now minister. Great guy. Look forward to that at 7 p.m. And at 8 o'clock, I will be bringing Brady Tinker, Fox Sports Radio. worked with the Dallas Cowboys for decades, real tight inside quarters there. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, what they didn't do in the offseason, what he expects during the draft, and Brady's favorite team, believe it or not, the Kansas City Chiefs. And we will talk some Chiefs as well. So going to last night, where do I start? I know you're not a big hockey guy, but I'm going to start in hockey.
I just can't break it down. I've been enthralled with the NHL playoffs every year. I just can't break it down, and I'm kind of shooting from the hip if I give out any picks or anything like that. So I've been watching. I've been very much in tune with everything that's going on here.
I know how to read the market as good, if not better than most. The lowest exactor out of the 8 possibilities, Bruins and Toronto, was Toronto in 6. I think we got a plus 425. Toronto in 7, plus 525. The only one that was in between was the Bruins in 7. Leafs lose the first game. Played well last night. Power play. They give up a penalty after the whistle. A cross-check. Bruins score 1-0. 9 seconds later, the Leafs come back and tie it. Looks like it's going to 1-1 the end of the period. The Bruins score with 7 seconds left, 2-1. Most Leafs teams would have collapsed. They come back and tie it, and then Domi with a 40-yard Hail Mary to Austin Matthews, and he scores 3-2. Bruins lose. First time they've lost to the Leafs this year. First time the Leafs had a lead this year as well. And the funny thing is, for the last 28 games, the Boston Bruins have alternated goalies between Swayman and Ullmark. And their big thing at the end of the game is the big hug. And last year, he didn't alternate. And that's what got him the President's Trophy. That's what got him them booted out of the playoffs. In the NHL playoffs, you tend to ride the hot goalie. So my point is, Swayman wins game 1. And Montgomery made a stance, and he goes, Ullmark is starting game 2. And, of course, all the naysayers are on Twitter. How can you bench Swayman? I can't believe it. Oh, my God, what a stupid thing. Well, Ullmark wasn't the reason the Bruins lost. He made 3 or 4 saves that forget about it. And if it wasn't for Ullmark last night, you would have lost 5-2. Okay, so let's get off the soapbox there. Okay, it wasn't the reason they lost. They got outplayed, they got out-hit, and they lost. Now, Montgomery comes back to Swayman for game 3. Right now at Circa, it is a pick-em in the series. So Jeff Benson over there at Circa still doesn't know which way this is going to go. Okay, so my point is here, Swayman wins game 3. You're up 2-1, and you know what? Then Montgomery has a decision. We're 2-0 with Swayman. We're 0-1 with Ullmark. Now does he stick to his guns and put Ullmark in there, which if they lost that one, now that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. Any thoughts here, Ronnie?
Oh, I mean, obviously his performance, whether they win or lose, if they lose 1-0 and he's unbelievable, then that's still a decision to make going into that. What if that would be game 4 going into that? So, no, I mean, as far as the Leafs are concerned, they're the ultimate in this new era of NHL, as you like to coin it, the ultimate banana in the tailpipe every single year that always has really, really good teams. And now we've gotten to a point where, and I would say maybe even the last couple of years, obviously, too, where absolutely not a single person believes in them, especially up against this Bruins team that has absolutely dominated them. So they've got to have some fight. Otherwise, that narrative is going to continue and everyone's just going to write them off. And that's just what they are. And they, maybe they make some changes if they can't get through this Bruins team. So the Bruins are going to get an absolute fight there. I mean, this is shaping up to be an awesome series because obviously the Bruins aren't going to back down. So it's a huge game 3, especially like you're talking about with the goaltending situation there, where if it's a 5-4 high scoring game, then it's going to be an easy decision to switch back and forth, continuing there. So I'm curious to see how it goes, but this is probably at the top of my list of series to watch right now in the NHL at least.
Now we go over to the Islanders and the Canes, and the Canes are one of our pre-flop to start the year to win the East, to win the Cup. I think they are going to come out of the East eventually. Down 3-0, game's over. They score a goal to make it 3-1. And then the last 5 minutes of the second period, they weren't on a power play, but they were in the Islanders zone for probably 4 minutes and 30 seconds. It was the most amazing thing. The Islanders were skating on quicksand, and the Canes are hitting posts, and they just couldn't put it through. And I was like, oh my God, this team's gassed. Well, long story short, Canes make it 3-2. And they're pressing now. There's, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go. Do they pull the goalie? Do they not pull the goalie? Well, they tied the game 3-3. The place is going crazy. 9 seconds later, they take a 4-3 lead. And next thing you know, empty netter, 5-3. Thanks for playing. And I said this on Twitter. I was like, anyone that played Canes minus a goal and a half pre-flop, please do yourself a favor. Go donate some money to your local favorite charity, because the New York Islanders, a proud franchise. We're going back to Bossy, Trottier, Stanley Cup winners. In their history, Riley, 82-0 when up 3 goals or more in a playoff game. And they go out and they bite the bit and they lose 5-3.
And it might be different if they, I mean, if they were the favorite coming into this series, you could say they put up a fight. But they had they had to have that one. That was must win. It's best case scenario, a gentleman's 5 games, sweep in 5 games here, if not a total sweep here. So I'm with you. This Carolina team is really, really good. Whenever you can come back from a deficit like that and especially keep it rolling, then it's a team that you have to look out for. So I'm excited to see where they can go, and I'm with you. This is a team that obviously can get through to to the Stanley Cup Finals, if not win the whole damn thing. So they deserve as much respect as anybody can get right now.
And I'll speed up the hockey recap. I talked to a few colleagues. The Vegas Knights pulled the Tampa Bay Lightning. Their salary cap's like around $91 million, but you can cheat the cap if these guys don't play. Once the playoffs start, all of a sudden they miraculously come up and they're healthy. Mark Stone returned 2.5 minutes in, 1-0. The number looks shady. I have a Dallas big ticket on them. I don't know, double digits to win the cup, and big ticket on them to win the West with the Avs, which we'll get to. But my point is, Dallas chasing the whole game. Vegas outplayed them. Dallas got a goal call back. Long story short, thanks for playing. Knights steal game 1. And then in the nightcap, Jesus, don't let Edmonton get on a power play. I'm just like bing, bang, boom. It was just poetry in motion. The ECSI VIPs last night, we did have the team total of Edmonton over 3.5 plus 110. What was it? 7-5 final, whatever it was. 7-4. They scored a touchdown, extra point. They played the part. They looked tough to beat. Any thoughts on those 2 games?
No, I like you said, as far as the don't let them get on the power play. I mean, their offense is going to get rolling if you let them get going. McDavid, I think it was 5 assists in that game. It's a team that if they can get lick their chops and fatten themselves up here in round 1, they can keep this thing rolling. And obviously, that's a hot offense that you don't want to face if you're. I'm honestly not sure who they would face in the next round, but whoever they would face in the next round doesn't want to see that team coming through. So. No, and then that Vegas-Dallas series is going to be a good one. So I don't have too much thoughts on that, other than stealing a game obviously puts them at a huge advantage there. So it's a tough one to, especially when a team we saw with the Lightning the last handful of years. Even when they look like they're just diminishing, but a team that's got that championship pedigree that's been there a long time, a lot of times in the last handful of years. Even in a series that you might consider is real close, when they steal those games, it's almost impossible to come back from them on.
Shout out to Brian Perry. What is up, Mr. BP? Scheffler with another win. Him and Nelly, 9 wins out of the last 10. And the PGA is praying that Miss Scheffler, will you please have that damn kid and give us a chance here? And for me, I'm saying, you got the team this week, the doubles, whatever you want to call them. I assume Scotty's not playing in this one, but you want that baby this week. So you got a couple of weeks of being dad, lose the sleep, and get ready for the PGA. So shout out to Brian. Hope all is well, sir. Good day to go out there and golf. If you didn't golf, well, best of luck in bowling. If you are bowling tonight or tomorrow as well there. Vancouver tonight looks to go up 2-1. Demko got hurt, was not on the ice, is out tonight, might be out for the series, so keep an eye on the Preds there. All right. You know me in the NBA. You know my thoughts on the NBA. Two things. We gave out the Sixers plus 108 to win the series. They were up 51-41 at half, game one. They sucked ass, pond water, the second half, and they lose that one. Had the game won last night. Literally, they missed a free throw, but they were up 5 with 30 seconds to go. And it was like watching a middle school game where they launch a three, it bounces, hits the rim, goes in. And then instead of calling the timeout, Nurse, and getting the ball at half court, he said they tried to get it in quick, and Embiid gets pulled, missed three, no one boxes out, rebound. Descendo, thanks for playing. And then the Lakers up 15 at half. And I reached out to a couple of colleagues. I was like, will the NBA make the phone call? And you could have got Denver plus 190 to win the game. Great fourth quarter. LeBron at his age, God bless him. Anyways, a shot to end all shots, game winner. Two great games in the NBA. Two came right down to the last second. Thoughts on the NBA last night?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Lakers, that was another team that had to have one of those two games in Denver. I mean, I don't think you would have expected them to pull out a 7-game series against this Nuggets team had they split with them anyways, but obviously now it's a little daunting there. As far as the Sixers, I mean, could they still make if they win 2 in Philly, could they make this interesting? Absolutely. But I mean, you mentioned it as far as the lack of timeout, and then if you watch that last 20 seconds, whatever it is, the rebound and the DiVincenzo shot, rebound, DiVincenzo shot again. Just watch Joel Embiid kind of standing around and looking around for something to happen and for the ball to bounce their way instead of boxing somebody out, just standing there. So it's either running out of gas and you can look at maybe we should have called that timeout, or if he's not out of gas, then we're talking about some that extra motor, extra effort to will your team to a win that just hasn't really shown. And obviously I'm a big fan of his. He's one of the best players in the league, but to go to that upper echelon and will your team to series wins like this, you got to have that extra motor, and he just didn't have it last night. So obviously those guys, LeBron and Embiid, both complaining about the refs, but at least in Embiid's case, you can look at yourself in the mirror a little bit. Obviously put up 35 points, whatever he put up, but at the end of the day, there's still some of those little things, and it wasn't that little in that scenario. Obviously, letting the Knicks get the rebound and kick back out. So. If they don't show that extra effort, obviously they were a little banged up, but nonetheless, if you're there and you're playing, then you got to have that extra effort. It wouldn't have been that difficult to box out Hartenstein there in that final sequence there, and stay afloat there. So I'm again going to give the Sixers a chance because they still got a lot of firepower, but down 2-0, it's going to be a tough hill to climb for sure.
Shout out to Mr. Berry as well. Happy Tuesday to Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights. Brian, you must have missed the start of the show. He wanted to know why the Bruins flipped on the goalies. Brian, they got chastised last year. They won the Presidential Cup by flipping the goalies. And then in the playoffs, he didn't. And then when he decided to, it was too late against the Panthers. So he was pretty adamant that that's what they were going to do. And you are correct. It wasn't Ullmark's fault. They got outplayed. The real scenario is Swayman starts game 3. We know that for a fact. What happens if Swayman wins? I think he'll stick with Swayman, even though it wasn't Ullmark's fault. It's a pick 'em right now at the Circa for the series. You can mark it down. It's probably going 7. It probably go into overtime too in game 7. So we'll see there. Yes, Maxey did get hammered. Yes, Embiid scored 35. Maxey scored 34. They needed the Boston Strangler. They needed Andrew Toney. They need one more wheel there. They need some help, and they're not getting it. Wouldn't be surprised if Philly comes back, wins the next two as well. It looks like a home. I mean, Philly has won the first half in both these games. They got the firepower. As you said, that last 30 seconds, no one was boxing out. It was just like a free-for-all. Everyone, no, it was panic. And Nurse started to make a timeout, and then he pulled it back. Then they had the ball, then they didn't have the ball. It was just total chaos. Did the refs make a few mistakes? Yeah, they did. But
Absolutely.
in like every game, in every sporting event, there's 48 minutes, there's 60 minutes. That one missed call, LeBron went back and bitched out the refs on a third period missed call or something. So there's always something there. But again, that's why they play the games, and that's why we're here tonight. And again, you got some teams that, Dallas is the big favorite. Everyone, I got them at 13-1 to win the West when they started ascending. An absolute no-show, no Kawhi, no problem. Must win for them there. The Bucks, everyone laughed. No Giannis, no problem. The Pacers got wiped there, and then the Suns, again, a no-show there. So you got three games. You're the NBA guy. Take it away. Have some fun here.
Yeah, and the only thing I didn't mention about yesterday that I whiffed on yesterday was I was expecting the Magic to put up a better effort, and they didn't. Offensively, the Cavs have been putting them in a shell there. So. As far as tonight is concerned, though, I mean, we go to Minnesota, who obviously another blowout in game one there. They've got a lot to prove, this Minnesota team, but and people are talking about them as a team that's got a lot to prove and gain this respect. This Suns team should also be feeling like they have a lot to prove, at least out of this group here. You got the one run that Booker had to get to the championship. Kevin Durant's obviously had a fantastic career, but as a group here, they haven't don't really have anything to show for, so they've got to at least put up a good series here. And I expect them to put up a better offensive effort, a better defensive effort. You drop the total a little bit from what was it the other day, 214 to 211.5. I could see this Suns team putting up a good defensive effort. I mean, to see this Wolves team at 106.5 drop down a little bit, I could see them staying under that 106.5 there, the Timberwolves. So I'm kind of leaning towards the Suns, but this Wolves team's got kind of hell bent on proving and demanding this respect that they are one of the new teams at the top of the league here, as opposed to what they've shown themselves the last few years. So I am believing in the Suns today to whether it's maybe not a drastic 120 plus offensive performance or anything like that, but at least a good defensive performance. Keep this Wolves team down in the maybe not crack 100, if so, maybe the low 100s. And I'm going Wolves team total under 206.5, I think is what I just said there. I've got my numbers mixed up. Or 106.5, excuse me, for the Wolves there tonight. So I'm going with the Suns win, and even in the series going back to Phoenix, but it's with some good Suns defense there.
Yeah, opening numbers, Minnesota 108, Phoenix 105.5. If you shop around at Bet Online right now in Heritage, you can get Minnesota team total under 107.5. Right now, the Suns are at 105.5 at Bet Online, 104.5 at Heritage, 104.5 at DraftKings. So I like where your eyes are there. These game twos, these teams that are now don't forget, this weekend, NBA, NHL, the home teams are 11-0. Other than the Vegas Knights, if I'm trying to think, the Leafs also. So some road teams in hockey did come through, but in the NBA, we're looking for a road team to come through. It hasn't happened. So the home teams are just holding serve. A series doesn't start until a road team breaks serve on a home court. So again, I expect a tighter defense from Phoenix. Obviously, we're all expecting a way better effort from the Dallas Mavericks. I think the real question here is now there was no belief in the Bucks, none.
Right.
People are starting to believe in the Bucks, and that's the problem. Once you stop believing, that's when they lay the egg.
Right. And I mean, just to give ourselves some extra confidence here, as we were talking about the Suns and believing in the Suns here, people might think we're in the same room because both of us got some giant rays of sunshine blasting us in our face as we were talking about that. We are not in the same room, and the sun may be shining, so maybe take that as a good omen. I don't know. Because as you got your rays of sunshine, I had to squint my eyes because I'm getting blasted with sun in the window next to me. So I don't know. Take that for what it's will, but for what you will. But the sun is shining on us right now as we're talking about the Suns. But as far as the Bucks are concerned, I mean, it's we talk about it all the time in the regular season, and especially in the first round of the NBA and NHL playoffs. Everyone knows what they saw last. And in a lot of these cases, almost every one of these cases, these game ones were massive blowouts. And so now you're expecting, even if the average person still feels like they're being optimistic by saying, oh, it might be a good game, but this team's still going to win. Look at what they did the other day there. So I would still put the Bucks and Pacers as a I think the line is fair. Essentially a toss up there. So I'm not necessarily saying, the Bucks can't do that again, but that does kind of seem like the consensus here. What I'm interested in, we went from 230 all the way down to 223. Are you respecting that movement, or is this? I mean, this Pacers team was living in the 240s all season long. Should we be hammering this Pacers team total over because we've got an adjusted total down to 111, or are we actually seeing a Bucks team that's got a revived defense that should get some respect here until we see something otherwise?
Well, I find it kind of comical that Dame had 35 in the first half and 0 in the second half. So, Dame, what happened? Did your battery run dry in the first half from doing this too much? And, the 82 games didn't mean squadouche. It's a good question. I could see the Pacers winning and actually a lower scoring game. I could see Dame coming back down to earth. Milwaukee, reading the articles, reading the clips. We don't trust Doc. He's had a hard time there. No Giannis again. So I could be a little contrarian here with the Pacers tonight and their team total under 111.5. Or if you want to get cute, Milwaukee's team total under 112.5.
I was curious if that's where you were going to go because after Tuesdays for Sunday's game, I was kind of in my head. I was like, all right, I'm going to be waiting for this Pacers team to have a huge offensive bounce back here. But I think I would have respected if that total, the 230 total, whatever it was, finishes right around 200, and we actually drop it way down to 223 as opposed to sticking up 227, 228. If that was the case, then I probably would have been all over Pacers over. So I'm with you. I don't think I think this number would have been higher if that's really what we were expecting, a big Pacers offensive bounce back here. So I'm still kind of torn on this one, but I do think this one should be a good game. I mean, you would have to expect the Pacers to put up a better performance than they did in game one there. But obviously this Bucks I'm curious to see if we see a legitimate Bucks defense for 2 nights in a row for the first time in I don't know how long this season.
Brian, I said Minnesota's a real good team. Their defense is really elite. They have size and real good guard play. And, they have the Ant, Mr. Edwards, no doubt. For Celtic fans, we were trying to get Mr. Towns. Towns was the guy forever. He was going to be our savior. Now we got the unicorn with Porzingis. But Ant is probably, one of the faces, if not the face of the NBA here. I loved him in college at Georgia. Kind of flying under the radar till the draft, and his stock rose immensely. So shout out there. Good eyes there, Brian, as always. And then he goes, when is the Greek Freak due back? They're going to let him sit as long as they don't need him. I mean, if they can win tonight, I probably, maybe game 5, because at worst, you're going to come back 2-2 if you don't steal one in Indianapolis over the week or weekend there. So they're not going to rush him back. They're not going to put their franchise, rush him back for a round 1 game and have him do something where he misses most of next year. So the kids' gloves with that, Brian.
Yeah. I'm going to guess game 5. I mean, if they're down, unless they're down, maybe if they lose tonight and they lose game 3, then maybe they get him back into game 4, and that would be the most rush back that I think you would. But I'll go ahead and take a wild guess at game 5. But the guy wants to play, and if he's feeling healthy, then he'll be back. But my guess is game 5.
And again, I'm kind of hoping, if the Bucks win and they rush him back for Game 3, the whole world will be on the Bucks and be a good buy low spot for the Pacers there. So we'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. And then obviously, does he play Game 3? If he does, and they're up 2-0, probably the Bucks will be favored for Game 3 in the Pacers, and it's a good buy low spot on the Pacers.
Yep. And then moving on to this last one, I think this last one, I think it's going to be a good series, first of all. You've got Kawhi questionable. I think it's a good – I mean, everybody and their brothers on Dallas on Sunday in Game 1 with no Kawhi, and then, the Clippers go and dominate completely. And I took a nice swing and was having had some a little bit of action, some pizza and beer money on the Clippers in Game 1, but it almost feels like one of these ones that's just going to go as we kind of go the theme in the NBA season a lot of times, you and I, where when you least expect or when you have this injury that you would expect it to go one way, it goes the opposite. This series, in my opinion, could absolutely go that way, where now tonight Kawhi is going to be back, and then and Dallas puts the hammer down, and then Kyrie will be gone in Game 3 for some reason, and then the Mavericks will still find a way in Game 3, something like that. So I don't have strong thoughts here. Like I said, I was I threw some pizza and beer money on the Clippers in Game 1 here. James Harden was awesome in Game 1, probably the best, one of the biggest games he's played in a while there. So if he can keep that going, then Dallas is just in trouble if James Harden is playing really well. But I mean, we obviously know the MO with James Harden in the playoffs here. So whether it's tonight or not, I don't know. But at some point, I think the series is going to go back and forth here. So I'll go with a nice Dallas performance. And this is maybe the game that's got a potential buzzer beater on our hands tonight. But I'm not going to throw anything down too hard on this one, but I'll lean towards the Mavericks getting their lick back on this one tonight.
If you wanted to have some fun today, you take all three home teams in a pizza and beer parlay, and you take all three road teams in a pizza beer parlay. It would not shock me if all three road teams won, or all three home teams won. That's just the way it is again. Dallas comes down back home 0-2, and they punch the Clippers in the mouth the next two games at home. The Pacers do the same thing, and then the Suns do the same thing. And that's what the NBA wants, especially in the first round. Shit, if we can get 6 or 7 in the first round, that's just more money for them.
100%, yeah. So I like the way you put that, where it might not be a 1-1 situation. It might be the home team wins all for the first 4 games out of a lot of these series, minus a couple, obviously. But I think tonight's case is a perfect example of one that could absolutely go that way. It's either going to be 3-1-1 series or a 3-2-0 series, and then we get a full flip on it for these games here. So I'll lean towards, like I said, the Suns is my one team that I feel if I had to pick one of the 3 to put my money on, if I had to, if I had to do a team to win, that's where I'm going. But obviously, that's the biggest dog of the night. So you can call me crazy for that one if you want.
I'm going to ask you a quick question. I'm going to play conspiracy theory. Let's just say the Suns lose this series in 4 or 5 games. Okay. You can tell the youth in Minnesota, the ant is where it's at. And I know the Suns' face is Booker. That's what their franchise is all about. Aiden has left the building. You bring in KD. My question to you is, if your Suns management, let's say you lose in 5 games, they'll probably win the series and then move on. But I'm going to play devil's advocate right now. Do you blow it up, and do you try to get some assets for the draft and moving forward and try to move KD, or do you think you can actually build something with KD and Booker?
I don't think you blow it up. I think they believe in those guys enough, and you've got some security around them to where you could even wait a year, try it again, and still blow it up. They've still got KD under contract for a couple more years after this. So I don't think they would. I think they would try and do another set of maybe some supporting pieces around these guys before they blow. It's a good question. By no stretch is it a bad question. But I think the way it's going and seeing some of these other teams that do blow it up and don't have, the immediate turnarounds with the draft that other teams would, I think they would try and keep their, as much talent as they can. But if they were to go another season and had these guys play 40 games together as opposed to 70 plus or whatever it is, then I'm probably not blowing it up until we get another either half-ass season next year in a first-round exit, or even a decent season in a first-round exit or something like that. So I'll keep it rolling another year for the Suns here.
Michael Manello Jr., what is your winning percentage? Today, yesterday, this week, this month, this is the start of our 9th full season. Our winning percentage for 9 full seasons is well over 55%. So if you were with us since day one, January 1st, 2015, you're doing quite well. So we're not a scratch ticket. We're a long-term group here that just provides information, watches the boards like stock market. We watch numbers. I'm a numbers-based East Coast sports investors team here. I don't follow trends. I don't do any of that ESPN, Fox Sports garbage. We're just here reading numbers, giving out as much information as possible, and we just move on day to day, sir. But thank you for watching and listening.
100%.
Looking at the NBA, again, I'm looking back east. I was thinking of Philly. Milwaukee obviously wouldn't. There's some younger teams moving in the right direction. And I always go to South Beach in Miami, a Butler and a KD. What would it take for them to, bring – they're missing one piece, obviously. And again, I'm not saying they're going to blow it up. And again, it's just one game. But, you look at the youth of the NBA, and no disrespect, KD is a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. I get all that. But, sometimes you got to look at the long term and how many more great seasons does he have. And if you can get enough assets for him and build around Booker, that's all.
And I'll say to kind of walk back what I said a little bit. If someone were to offer a deal that's tough to refuse, then that would be the way. I mean, we've had these conversations where teams just are a little reluctant to pay 120 cents on the dollar like they were 10 years ago. Teams, if anyone's trying to get Kevin Durant, they're probably only offering 75 cents on the dollar and trying to make that pitch like, well, he's the end is near any day now. So. And it's a totally different conversation. But my Bulls haven't made a player trade in like 3 years, which it sounds ridiculous, and it kind of is. But part of it is because teams keep offering them 60, 70 cents on the dollar for these assets. And a lot of teams are doing that right now. And like you said, they're hoarding. If you got young talent, you're hoarding it. And we're starting to see the fruits of it with some of these teams like Orlando, obviously not in the first round, but Orlando, OKC, Minnesota as well, and obviously Minnesota piecing it together, bringing in Gobert and whatnot. So, so if somebody were desperate for Kevin Durant and had legitimate, package that you could turn around into, a quick turnaround of young assets that are almost ready to be stars, then that's a different story. But I would imagine they, that isn't going to be the case, and they're going to be rolling the dice again and probably getting aggressive to build on this team going forward into next year if this thing doesn't work out this year.
No, I agree. Big slate in the MLB. If there's any certain games that you wanted to go over, the Red Sox, more bad news today. Cassis with a fractured rib. He'll be out for some time now. I just looked at their lineup again. And the funny thing is, overnight, they were actually favored in Cleveland, which is a surprise. Now Cleveland is the favorite there. Hulk versus Lively there. So the Red Sox lineup looks again like a Pawtucket lineup from years ago. But MLB, kind of funny, comical. If you don't have, if you have a weak heart, you don't wager on baseball. And I'll be full transparent as we always are here. I gave out San Diego last night, first 5 minus the hook. Dylan Cease on the mound versus Gomber in Colorado. Manny Machado, after we released it, decided to stick and stay. I think it was paternity leave, so I think they have a child coming on the way. Long story short, Padres put up a run early, and Cease is just mauling them down. And bottom of the 4th, old man Charlie Blackmon gets a double. So that's the first hit Cease gives up, and then ground out, sacrifice 1-1. And so I give up 1 hit in 5 innings, and the score is 1-1, and I lose because I had the hook. So that's baseball in a nutshell right there.
Yep, that'll do it to you for sure. That it's not for the faint of heart. You got to be able to take your licks and know that you probably didn't have it that wrong, but just didn't fall your way that day. So the only one that I remember, I was very in favor of the Twins putting up Maybe I didn't. I don't think I said a touchdown, but they ended up putting a touchdown up on my White Sox. So that was the one side, correct side that I was on. 3-19 White Sox. Don't have much with that one today. There's another one that I was gonna ask you about, but that one, Fetty on the mound versus Pablo Lopez, and we got a flat 7. You got two teams, the worst offensive team to this point in baseball, in the White Sox. But a Fetty guy, a guy in Fetty who's been obviously kind of a punching bag the last few years. And we've got a flat 7. Is that just telling us that we're going to get a 5-1, 5-2, 6-1 performance out of this one, or are we going to see a pitcher's duel with Fetty on the mound here tonight?
Your White Sox have been shut out 8 times this year, so they're telling you this, that the Twins are going to score 7 or less. And you might get shut out again here. Yeah. It's been bad. And I go back a couple of years ago. Man, you guys had some talent. The Luis Roberts, the Moncadas, the Abreu's. The list was endless. And the future couldn't have Dylan Cease. The future couldn't have been brighter. Kopech. And now I don't want to say you're the laughing stock of the baseball, but you're kind of sort of the laughing stock of baseball right now.
Shit, man.
Wow.
No, I mean, and Luis Roberts obviously hurt. He was, I don't know what his numbers were before he got hurt. I still believe the world out of him. But I mean, the two guys now that you're waiting to step up, Eloy Jimenez and Andrew Vaughn, are, barely hitting over $150 right now. So, it's ugly. Those two are the guys where if you were optimistic about this, or compared to expectations about the offense, those guys had to step up there. So, Paul DeJong hitting, and I know batting average is the first thing that I'm looking at right now. Obviously, batting average isn't as important as it used to be, but Paul DeJong hitting .234 is essentially our leading hitter these days right now. So it's ugly. No, and this Twins team, obviously, that was yesterday was one of the better offensive days that they've had all season long. So I don't think it's crazy with the flat 7. Pablo Lopez hasn't been super consistent, so I could absolutely see him putting up a dynamite start here tonight at home for the Twins there. So thanks for I guess I walked myself into that one, but it's as bad as you could say it is. The one I wanted to go to, though, Brewers and Pirates, NL Central, 14-7 Brewers, 12-11 Pirates. Myers on the mound making, I believe, his MLB debut for the Brewers. 12-11 Pirates with Falter on the mound, who was not great the last couple of years, has actually been pretty good the last 3. And you've got a road team in the Brewers with a guy making his first MLB start today as the favorites in this one. Is that kind of respect to this Myers guy, or is this kind of expecting some regression out of Bailey Falter here on Pirates Pittsburgh side of things?
I talked to Scotty at length yesterday during our baseball show during the afternoon, and I thought it was a perfect spot for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got swept by my Red Sox, and the Brewers just swept the Cardinals at St. Louis, so it was a perfect letdown spot there. Now Myers and Falters, as we speak, Pittsburgh team total has just moved to 3.5 over -140. A Milwaukee team total of 4.5 juice under -130. So if you like the Brewers today, I might suggest have them to get to 5 or better, and you can get them +110 or 120 if you're shopping at Bet Online. But Pittsburgh, usually when you lose a few in a row and you win one, you come back. I don't know enough about Myers. I do know Falter has, back in the Philly days was not that good. No fault of his own, no pun intended there. So it's of 8.5. If I had to guess, gun to my head, I think it might go over the 8.5. How's that sound?
Yeah, I like it. I like the Brewers over team total. And like you said, I mean, you can get the Brewers up to 5-6 runs. And like you said, you get an MLB debut. You never know what's going to happen there. So that is where I would go as well there. Let's see. You've got the Phillies as road favorites in Cincinnati tonight. Sanchez versus Abbott. Sorry, my info's moving slow here. The total on that one, if it's going to pop up for me, was that a flat 8 that I saw there? Or my stuff isn't loading for me here. Help me out with this one.
I know I got an 8.5. I got let me see. Phillies team total 4.5 juice under -20 cents. I get the Cincinnati 3.5 juice over -140. I wouldn't go there. I'd lean Phillies. but I lean very lightly. Phillies took care of business last night. Maybe look for a Cincinnati bounce back here. I probably would stay away from this game.
Yeah, you've got a hot Phillies team, obviously, there. It's a flat 9. So, yeah, my stuff was moving slow on that one. Let's see. We've got Tampa as home favorites against Detroit. What are we feeling with that one? Pepe on the mound, 12-12 Tampa, decent-sized favorites. Are we? Is it fair to expect we got a nice, I don't know if hot streak is the right word, or just a much better consistency from Tampa around the horizon, potentially starting tonight or in the next coming days here, where we get Tampa kind of getting themselves back into the mix and back into consistency, winning games here?
Tampa's been a kryptonite for me for a long, long time. Talked to Scotty at length. He lives in Tampa. I thought it was a perfect spot for the Tigers last night with Cy Skubal on the mound. He was dominant. Now you got to flip the script here if you want to be 100% honest here. The pitching edge goes to Tampa tonight with Pepwar, I think his name is, and Maeda has been awful. So I would look for Tampa in a bounce back spot. I know it's a flat 8 here as we speak, but I like the Tampa to get to 5 or better tonight, plus 120. So that's where my eyes are if you needed to get into Tampa. If you wanted to get cute in the first 5, take Tampa minus the half run, get it close to even, maybe a little plus money there. Just hopefully they're not tied. But I think they're going to score a couple crooked numbers early. They should win the first 5 at least, and I think they can get to 5 or better tonight.
I like it. What's your outlook on Tampa then? Are they going to be a playoff team, or do you have them on the outside looking in this year?
I had the Orioles first. I had the Yankees second. I had Toronto and Tampa third and fourth, and the Red Sox fifth.
Okay. Hey, you mentioned you and I are in the same boat, and I know it's a AAA looking squad right now, but they're a winning baseball team. So I'd trade that situation for mine in a heartbeat here, at least for another week of happiness or optimism of being above 500 for what it's worth over here. But go ahead. That was the main few that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, a lot of playoff action tonight. So if there's anything else going on, and I know you've got some other shows and interviews to get to. So anything else for you before we get out of here?
A couple games piqued my interest. Gosman and the Jays at Kansas City versus Walker. Gosman's been hit or miss. He's been better of late. Toronto trying to get some consistency in offense. Keep an eye on them to get to 5 or better tonight and get that plus 110 there. Kind of surprised Texas still not getting any respect. I don't know what your number is right now. Seattle, who can't hit their way out of a paper bag, travels to Texas. Gilbert versus Dunning. And is Seattle still the favorite there?
I think they are. My info crapped out on me, so I'm going dark on my info, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay, so I like Seattle there. I like them maybe to get to 5 tonight at even money. Over 4.5, you can get that at even money. It's a 9. I lean Seattle actually to win this game. I'm going to trust the opening number there. A couple other ones. Baltimore did well early this year. The first series, I think the Angels traveled to Baltimore. Baltimore did well there. Now you got Rodriguez versus Kannon. I lean Rodriguez there, especially in the first 5, minus the hook there. And lastly, something again, I'm looking at the overall odds, and this Houston team, again, has been awful to start the year. Traveled to Chicago today, and France versus Wicks. And a couple things jump out at me here. Houston being favored, number 1. Number 2, the Houston team total at one book, 5.5. So you need to get to 6. You can get a plus 115. It's a flat 10. So I lean Houston in the game, and I think I'm going to trust the number here, and I think they get to 6 or more tonight. So keep an eye on the Houston offense as we speak there. Shout out to Marty Lowe. What's up, Marty? Roll Tide, roll Tide, roll Tide. Good baseball team you got, by the way. Keep an eye on the Crimson Tide in college bases. Quick rundown of hockey. If you like the Rangers tonight and you don't want to play regulation, you don't want to play a goal and a half, you can play them to get to 4 or better. You can get that at even money. If you like Florida to win game 2, you can get them to get to 4 or better at plus 110. Colorado, Winnipeg, first 1-4 wins that game. They had the shootout in game 1. I think it was 7-6 final. So you're probably going to get a lot more tight check-in. Avs need to win this game or they're going to come back down to Colorado down 0-2. And then again, I talked about Demko in Vancouver. He is out tonight. Nashville was up 2-1 going into the third, and they pooped themselves early in the third period there. If you like Nashville to get to 3 or better today, you got to lay minus 130. And if you think Vancouver's going to win and they're going to get to 4, here's the cherry on top. Vancouver to get to 4 or better tonight, you can get that at plus 140. Closing thoughts, Riley.
Closing thoughts. We haven't done one of these in a while, as far as making sure you know your limits and or not getting ahead of yourself, getting over your skis on some of these big slates like this, or playoff action, whatever. I saw a lot of people talking about themselves getting cleaned out after the first few days of playoff action, and I know everyone wants to have fun, and I had some fun with it as well. Over the weekend, but there's a way to have some fun with playoff series and playoff games without betting on every single game or throwing together an 8-leg NBA NHL parlay every single night, my friends. You can still have some fun, get some action, pick your spots wisely, and learn from what you saw the first day. And just because you saw one thing doesn't mean it's going to be exactly the same in that follow-up game, whatever it is. So pick and choose your spots wisely. Like I said, don't bet every game. I think that's just a good rule of thumb always, is to not bet every single game. But I saw plenty of people doing just that. So, know your limits and don't blow your wad on blow your wad of cash on the first 2 days of action here. So we need you. We got it's a marathon. We always say it with a full year of sports, but especially even more so if you. Blanket down. Don't play 8-leg parlays, Mr. Saylor. No, you should not. Maybe if you had some fun on an action parlay, Mr. Jeff Dawson gives out a 3-4-legger, and that's a good one to play. But no, I would say don't do that. It's certainly not every single day here, and not every single favorite. That obviously is if that was the way to if that happened every day and then you win money betting every single favorite, then this thing would be a hell of a lot easier to just throw a 6-leg favorite parlay and that's how you make your money. So don't do all of those things. Pick and choose your spots wisely, and you'll have a lot more fun if you're winning and even winning marginally, as opposed to blowing all of your cash on the first round of the NBA and NHL playoffs. It's a 2-month marathon here in the NBA and NHL playoffs, my friends. So don't blow everything in 1 week.
Well, it's kind of comical because in June, it's usually the first week of June, the NBA finals start. So, guys, the NHL will wrap up its Stanley Cup. Then it's a week of the NBA finals. So you're getting to the middle of June. Then you get 3 weeks till the MLB All-Star break, and then it's officially the dog days of summer. I want to piggyback on the parlay thing there, because social media thrives on it. The Trents of the world, the 6-8-legged parlays. You guys are seeing Photoshop tickets where people hit 15, 20-legged parlays. Okay. They show you one, and I'm not saying you can't hit one. The sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while, guys. So my point is, the one that they're showing you, they didn't show you the 10,000 losers, and that the book actually made, $5 million and paid out, $100,000. So basic math here for a second, guys. If you did a $25 parlay 7 days of the week and you lost all 7 days, if my math is correct, you lost $175 that week. And people are going to say, it's just my entertainment, Jeff. Okay, that's right. 175. Now you times that times 4, you lost $700 that month. Okay? You lost $700 that month. And if you times that times 12, you lost almost, 10 dimes for the year. That's just on the parlays. And after you lose the first one, you're going to go back for more and more. And God forbid you ever hit one. Forget about it. They own you then. So just be careful. And here at ECSI, we grind Monday through Saturday. And as Riley said, on Sunday, I call it the action parlay, because we coined 9 years ago, Sundays is called Quicksand Sunday. Expect the unexpected. So if you are chasing going into Sunday, forget about it. Your bankroll's going to If you owe the man $500 going to Sunday, you're going to owe him a dime at least. You're going to wake up Monday morning hungover and you're like, holy shit, I what? Okay. And if you're up 500 going into the weekend, that's when people really take advantage of it going to Sunday. It's called Free Swing Sunday. I'm going to Aruba. I'm getting myself a 75-inch TV on the man. And you probably end up losing the 500 and probably lose another 200 because you played the West Coast game trying to get some of your money back that you thought you had already won. So that's what we're here for. Basic money management. Try to keep you guys in the right lanes. And there's a million people to thank. Russell Saylor, Marty Lowe, Michael Manillo Jr., nice to see you. Welcome to the family. Brian Perry, of course. Who else do we have here? We had Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights, and we started off the show with Mr. Jay Berry. So we had a fun show here. 7 o'clock, if you guys are on Twitter, head over to the Twitter Spaces. Eric Coleman, first black punter in the NFL, Minnesota Vikings, will be on with us at Wager Wire on Twitter Spaces. And then at 8 o'clock, I'll be back here with Brady Tinker, Dallas Cowboys insider, formerly of Fox Sports Radio and a few other stations in Dallas. We're going to talk Dallas Cowboys off-season, draft, and we'll even get some Kansas City Chiefs play-by-play as well. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Have some fun, cash some tickets. Hope to see you guys at 7. If not 7, come back at 8 o'clock. Turn on those notifications. We'll see you soon.